this next story proves that a lot of these elites never, ever learn. This is from The Hill. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg has signaled to allies that he's considering jumping into the race for the Democratic presidential nomination if former Vice President Joe Biden falters and Senator Elizabeth Warren continues to rise. According to a CNBC report, Bloomberg told associates in recent weeks that if Biden were to drop out of the race before voting begins, he would consider launching a late run for the nomination over fears Warren would drag the party too far to the left. While Warren has caught Biden in some national and early state polls, the former vice president remains a top contender for the nomination. Quote, I think it's something he wants. He has not been shy about that, an anonymous Bloomberg ally told CNBC. Nothing can happen unless Biden drops out, and that's not happening anytime soon. Last time he was threatening, maybe I'll do an independent run. If Bernie got the nomination, he was saying, maybe I'll do an independent run. So that would be him hopping in the race, running as an independent. By their logic, they say, hey, man, that helps Trump. So why isn't he accused of being a Russian asset? By the way, I guarantee you, he would consider it in the general, too. Hear me now, quote me later. Hear me now, quote me later. Because it's going to be either Bernie or Warren that gets the nomination. It's going to be one of those two. So will Bloomberg hop in the race as an independent then? And will Hillary call him a Russian asset? She's definitely not going to call him a Russian asset, but he might actually hop in the race. That's the first point. The second point is, guys, look at how he thinks this comes across versus how it actually comes across. Michael Bloomberg genuinely believes, like, bro, I might have to come in and save the day. I might have to do it. I might have to jump in and save the day. There's going to be nobody else. Only I could save the day. That's how he thinks this comes across. How does this really come across? We all look at it and go, oh my God. The last-ditch effort by the establishment to stave off the necessary progressive populist rise in the Democratic Party and in the country. So he thinks he's coming across as some sort of hero. Only moderate can beat Donald Trump, even though moderates lost to Donald Trump, yeah? He thinks he comes across as the hero. Really, he comes across as the villain, trying to save the corporate class and the billionaire class at the last moment from the real serious attempt at a political revolution. Man, this dude has a giant savior complex. And the final point is his ego. His ego is unbelievably gigantic, embarrassingly huge. Embarrassing. Listen, man, he's most known at this point in time probably for opposing the raise of the minimum wage in New York City. He's known for being a staunch supporter of stop and frisk. Even though stop and frisk has been proven to overwhelmingly crack down on people of color who are innocent. I forget the exact number, but I think it's like over 99% of the time, stop and frisk yields nothing. So you take away the rights of brown and black men in New York City, no Fourth Amendment protection for them. They could be walking down the street, minding their business, not doing anything wrong. They can get searched. 99% of the time it finds nothing, and he supports this policy. And by the way, the few times it finds anything, it's like small amounts of marijuana. So this is a guy who has helped perpetuate the drug war. This is a guy who helped perpetuate a racist police department. Those actions are, I'm sorry, whatever you want to call them. You want to not blame the cops? Fine with that. But the policy itself has that impact. Cracks down on communities of color unjustly. They're not going to stop and frisk the Wall Street guy who's got cocaine in his pocket. They're not going to stop and frisk him. So he's known for that, and he's also known for banning big gulps. So this is a guy who thinks he's going to hop in the race and win. He thinks he has any prayer at all. He's so openly and clearly an elitist. Like, his whole thing is shut up and work for a starvation wage against a living wage. Stop and frisk people who I will just assume are criminals based on the color of their skin, and ban large drinks. Why? Because I don't think they're healthy. That's not healthy, and I will intervene and stop this. How about you piss off? How about that? I mean, and you're legally allowed to get 2 of the smaller size, which would then equal a big gulp, but you can't get the big gulp. He's an authoritarian. That's what he is. He's an authoritarian. He wants to control your life. He wants to not make the economy work for regular people, but he wants to control your life socially. Honestly, just terrible. Horrendous. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So, this is the guy who's thinking about jumping in the race because he's afraid of what will happen if Warren or Bernie gets the nomination. Elizabeth Warren has a 50-50 chance of beating Trump. Bernie Sanders has an 80% chance of beating Trump. They're the only people who are favorites. Michael Bloomberg would never get through the primary, but he would get obliterated by Trump. Joe Biden. Trump is the favorite if it's up against Joe Biden. So his whole theory of politics is just wrong. It's just wrong. He's just incorrect. His ideology is terrible. His political strategy is terrible. And we wouldn't even be talking about him, oh, maybe I'll jump in the race, if he wasn't a billionaire. That's what he is. He's a billionaire, and he's basically like buying this level of media. Just for the record, it's not like, oh, somebody close to him just happened to leak this to CNBC. No, he told somebody close to him, go tell them I'm thinking about running. Why should we care? Nobody cares. You're not going anywhere. You're a joke. You're the last-ditch effort of the establishment to stop real progressive change. Piss off.